sarapani kai kai sarapani kai kai sarapani kai kai sarapani mikkavariಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಚಿಕ್ಕಂದರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಮಿಕ್ಕವರಿಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಚಿಕ್ಕಂದರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮದಿರ ಜಾತಿ ಮತಗಳು ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ನಮಗೇನು ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮದಿರ ಜಾತಿ ಮತಗಳು ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ನಮಗೇನು ಒಮ್ಮತ ನಮ್ಮದು ಭಾರತ ಮಾತೆಯ ತೋರದ ಬಗೆಗೆ ಪೂಜೆನು ಒಮ್ಮತ ನಮ್ಮದು ಭಾರತ ಮಾತೆಯ ತೋರದ ಬಗೆಗೆ ಪೂಜೆನು ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಕೈ ಕೈ ಸರಪಳಿ ಮಿಕ್ಕವರಿಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಚಿಕ್ಕಂದರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಮಿಕ್ಕವರಿಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಚಿಕ್ಕಂದರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಪಾಠ ಕಲಿಯೋಣ ಮಾತನಾಡೋಣ ನೀವು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿ ಗುಂಪು ಆಗೋಣ ಸಂಘ ಕಟ್ಟೋಣ ತೊಂದರೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿ ಒಗ್ಗೂಡೋಣ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗೋಣ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗೋಣ.
Every day we see so much of ugly dimensions in relation to child labor. I think anybody who is sensitive is able to witness the cruelty of child labor in all our surroundings. At source, the problem of child labor is a problem of unemployment, of very poor earnings for people in this country. And it is this that has accentuated the whole crisis. So you have people migrating from the rural areas in search of a job, and that is because of pauperization in the villages, because of loss of employment, because of loss of assets. So it's this migrant labor that is throwing up a section of society, their children who have become street urchins and who are really begging their way in order to eke out their daily life. Over the last 10 years, child labor has grown in this country by about 700%. So immediately this raises the question as to what is the dimension of the problem that we are faced with.
There are so many child workers working, and it's very difficult to get the data because of this child labor is unorganized, and some of them are organized sectors. Even though we don't have proper statistics, we know the number is huge, and there is an urgent need for something to be done.
I remember one of the first public meetings I addressed 13 years ago. It was a large public meeting with several thousand workers sitting there, and I was on the dais with all these other trade unionists, but right in the first few rows there were children below the age of 15, and I was wondering what the children were doing there. I did go among the children and talk to them, and I found that every one of them was working in the industrial estate, in some industry or the other, from plastics to chemicals to small engineering workshops, packaging, etc. But what was more alarming and really depressing was that 8 out of every 10 children had suffered an industrial accident of some kind. Lost 4 fingers of the right hand, lost an arm, lost an eye, lost a limb because of an electric shock. And though some children were able to get jobs again, in spite of the industrial accident, I'm sure a lot of them did not, because they were not covered under any legislation. They were not covered under workmen's compensation or medical benefits, and there was no statutory law to protect them in any case. So we had these two situations of children working illegally and without protection, and legally and without protection. The child, I felt, had a very important place. And the child needed to be there, and we had to address it, and if we didn't justify our existence at all. And of course the children didn't let us ignore them anyway, because the children were there and demanding, and they were saying, listen, what are you doing for us? And there was no way you could ignore those children. If you could see those children, you'd know what I'm talking about. They are little adults in some ways. They're very self-assured. They're very clear about what they want. Sometimes it's not always right, but still they're very clear about what they want and what they want to achieve. and they're very strong little human beings. I mean, they are human beings for whom I have a lot of respect. They took decisions at the age of 8 or 9 or even 6 sometimes to start earning. A lot of these children are children who are living on the street, who've either left home or abandoned or run away or orphaned, and who are living completely on their own. We explained to them the way the legislation was and that the legislation said they shouldn't be there in the first place. And so in their typical childlike logic, because in some ways they're real children, no? They said, if that's the way legislation is, let's change it.
The draft bill for regulations and protection of the working children, pioneered by the Concern for Working Children, has eventually been enacted as law by the Union government. Though the act falls short of many expectations, still it is a legal framework for people like us and for institutions like ours who are working with the working children.
It is time to have a fresh look at the legislation, particularly the implementation of the legislation, and whether the status of children in the employment market has improved as a result of this legislation. In this connection, the first question that I would like to address myself is the role of law in welfare and development of children particularly, and society in general. Yes, law has an important role in solution of social problems. And in a democracy where we try to advance society through the legal process, perhaps we may begin with legislation, because legislation ordinarily ought to be a reflection of public opinion. But legislation can be in advance of public opinion and influence public opinion if that is necessary for the proper development of social relationships.
What is the basic reason for this kind of exploitative situation to continue? And I would certainly trace it to the history of our socio-economic development. I think it would be extremely inadequate to hope to solve the problem within a legislative framework. What we witness at the moment is a kind of polarization of views among the economists, among the social scientists, among the political scientists. And there's a debate, I would say a healthy debate going on, as to whether we can shift from truly developmental goals in which man is the center, in which child is the center, to as compared to the earlier kind of development model that we were going about with. So I would say unless we tackle this question, it is not possible to tackle the question of child labor effectively.
It is really dependent on what the government wants to do and what society as a whole agrees needs to be done. So instead of waiting until everybody comes out of poverty, you can create these specific conditions for reducing child labor, doing something in specific industries, those industries which use a lot of child labor, where I think more rigorous implementation of the laws, etc., will help. But besides that, you have innumerable other situations, especially in towns and cities, where you can't either force them not to send the children to work, or it becomes impossible to force employers not to make children work, because these employers are from households up to small factories of various kinds. So that is where, again, side by side with pressure to develop health and education, individual organizations should be able to take up particular areas. Okay, they may be very limited in extent, etc., but what makes them important and what makes them fruitful in a way is that some way the demonstration effect, as it is called, will spread. A couple of organizations in one town take up the issue, then it slowly spreads to other areas.
The debate has always been between two basic schools of thought, the purists and the realists, or at least this is how I term it. The purists are those who are concerned with the normative, with how things should be, and are generally not willing to compromise with the existing circumstances. Their concern is with bringing about a total eradication of that problem or that injustice without any compromise. The realists are those who, mind you, also have a vision of the utopia which should exist, but are more concerned with dealing with the here and now. And because their direction or their strategy deals with moving from the here and now to the utopia, they often make a number of what are concerned compromises by the purists. And I think this debate is going to go on as long as poverty or injustice exists.
I don't believe that ameliorative measures are going to really help the children. The children must become participants in their own fight against this injustice. So they must be empowered. This empowering is done by us because we are conscious of the dynamics of this socio-political setup that forces children to go to work. So we must share our knowledge and the processes with the children.
Prior to 1988 December, we just had field projects. We had 12 centers in Bangalore city, and we had 2 rural centers, one a cluster of 12 villages and one a cluster of 5 villages. Here what we were really trying to do is not to solve the child labor problem ourselves. We know that even all the voluntary agencies put together cannot solve the problem of child labor alone, but what we felt was necessary was to take a cross section of occupations and industries and try and innovate and try and see whether some of these theories or some of these experiments actually worked. And if they did work, then they would be very good models to influence government to then replicate on larger scale. So our involvement with the child is one, to keep us in contact with the child and allowing the child to participate in this whole process.
ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭಯ ಆಗನೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಮಿಠಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಭಯ ಆಯಿತು, ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದನ್ನ ಭಯ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದು ಬಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ.
They find they are unable to relate to adults. They are wary and suspicious of adults, and they are very often very aggressive to the adults around them. Now these are justifiably so, because all they have seen in their lives is violence and aggression.
ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಹಿಡಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವೊಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವ್ರು ಬಂದು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀನು ಎಲ್ಲಿರೋದು, ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಈ ಥರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಈ ಥರ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲ್ ಒಂದು ಭೀಮಾ ಸಂಘ ಕಟ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಆಯಿತು ನೈಟೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಥರ ಸುತ್ತಬಾರ್ದು, ಸುತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೌಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೊಡಿತೀವಿ ಅದಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭಯ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮಗೂ ಆಗ ಭಯ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಶೆಲ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮ CWC ಕಾರ್ಯದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಿರುವಾಗ ಬರೀ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯನೇ. ಇದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಂದ ಬಂದ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳನ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಜನಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥ ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ, ಆ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕು ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಇಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಶೆಲ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವರೇ ಹಣ ಹಾಕಿ ಅವರೇ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರೇ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಮನೆ ಥರ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ.
Our approach is with the community, and the community provides a place where we can have these programs, various programs like we provide the life skills, literacy, vocational training, and empowering the child through various programs, and also like recreation. What all the child requires, which is lacking because he is forced to work and he is spending all the time in that. And also we have a program for the outreach, where children working in marketplaces and children working as coolies and children working in automobile garages, and most of these children are working on the street, so it's not a community. So where our field activists have outreach program, he meets in a particular place with these children.
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ ದುಡಿಯುವ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೀಗೆ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಲಸೆ ಬಂದವರನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಾಡು ಪ್ರದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬಂದವರಿದ್ದರು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಮೂಲ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಅಗತ್ಯ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತು. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಬಸರೂರನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯನ್ನು ಹೆಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಗ ಆ ಸಮುದಾಯವೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಕುಟುಂಬದೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ತೀರ ಹತ್ರ ಸಂಬಂಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಇಂದ ಪಟ್ಟಣ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನೊಂದು ಆ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಹೆರಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅನಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ದುಡಿಯೋ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗ ಆ ಕುಟುಂಬದೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಜೀವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಆ ಹುಡುಗನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಿಸಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಆ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೂ ಆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಸರ್ವೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಾವು ಮೊದಲು ಕಂಡುಕೊಂಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನವರು ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಒಂದು 10 ರಿಂದ 12ನೇ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಟೆಗಳಿಗೆ ವಲಸೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮಗೆ ಆ ವಲಸೆಯನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಕೊನೆ ಪಕ್ಷ ಅವರು ವಲಸೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ತೀರಾ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಆದರೆ ಕೂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಜ್ಞಾನ, ನಾನು ಯಾವ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲವು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಕ್ಷರಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆದ್ರೂ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಧೈರ್ಯದಿಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಾಭಿಮಾನದಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆದೀತು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೆಯಿಂದ ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ನಾವು ಕೇವಲ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರೇರಕರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹದ್ದು ಒಂದು ವಾತಾವರಣ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅವರೇ ಅದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈಗ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಎನ್ನುವುದು ಅವರು ಆ ರೀತಿ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಹಂತವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಳ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸ್ಥಳ ಹಬ್ಬಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮುಗಿತು ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ.
But the most important thing we found in the field is that upon the child have a very strong survival instinct, but the lack of information to the child, the information is not access to him. Because of that one reason he couldn't able to analyze the situation, why he is in that position. So that's where we using as a Bhima newspaper as a tool to make him access to the information to the child and to empowering the child and bringing him to the Bhima Sangha. The children lack of unity, because they are all in isolated. They doesn't even know that how many people are in this similar situation. So we wanted to bring them into one group as a Bhima Sangha, and so that they can work about their own problems by themselves. And also one of our major approach is that not to create dependency on us. The child should be independent and is very strong by himself.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಆನಂದು. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ನಾಗರಾಜ. ರಾಮಾಶ್ರಮದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೀಮಾ ಸಂಘ ಕಟ್ಟಡ ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾವು 8 ಜನ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾವು 8 ಜನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
We felt that we were working at these two levels. One is at the grassroots level with the child, and one was at this advocacy level or working with legislation and policy, and there was nothing in between.
The setting up of CWC Center for Research and Documentation, as I see it, is part of the process of professionalizing its work in the field of child labor. As time went on and CWC's experience in the field grew, it became clear that any work of lasting value would involve a greater understanding of the roots of the problem, the dimensions and characteristics of the problem, the different aspects of the problem, and the various approaches to solving the problem. Along the way, it also became clear that there was not a great deal of information on the subject, and that what material did exist was scattered in different places in various parts of the country and the world. Research had to be conducted to gather more information on the subject, and efforts had to be made to gather together all the available information so that not only CWC but others interested in the issue could access it easily. So CARD was born with research and documentation as its primary functions. A third function evolved out of these two, that is communications. It was obvious that all the material gathered by CARD and generated by CARD would have to be disseminated as widely as possible, using the mainstream media, alternative media, as well as media developed for and with the working child. Bima is a wallpaper for street and working children. It was created as a medium of communication for, by and about working children. It is supposed to foster a sense of identity and unity among them and give them a forum for self-expression. Coming from the mainstream media, I'm quite amazed at how much participation there has been in Bima from the audience. Not only do they contribute to at least 1/3 of the newspaper, but they react very intimately to, they respond very intimately to various items contained in the wallpaper. CARD is also involved in networking with other organizations involved in the child labor issue here in India as well.
Well, one of the examples is that of international networking is that the International Labour Organization has changed its attitude towards child labor. Its original attitude, which came through in the convention, earlier convention, was to ban child labor. And it was really perhaps a first world pressure on the third world to ban it. And that was a very easy way out, because countries just banned it and then did nothing about it. And the child continued to work, or continues to work. But now what has happened is that the International Labour Organization has changed its attitude and says not ban child labor but take steps towards the eradication of, which is, I think, a far more practical, a far more realistic approach to the question.
In addition to networking with other agencies focused especially on street and working children, CWC and CARD are now trying to forge links with other like-minded organizations involved in similar issues. There are so many other disadvantaged, marginalized populations in India and the rest of the world whose condition is rooted in the same kinds of development-related problems. Child labor has to be seen holistically as an inevitable byproduct of a patently unjust social, economic and political system, and the system cannot be changed unless those currently at the bottom of the heap realize that they have a common cause and that they must join together to promote it.
Similarly, I think it's very important for people from different disciplines, be they academics, professionals, journalists, lawyers, activists, etc., to also begin to raise their voices in a unified manner on the given issues of marginalization. The birth of the National Advisory Committee on Child Labor, launched by CWC, is a move in precisely this direction. This is the main goal of NAC. NAC was formed more than a year ago in July 1989 with this very idea of drawing together people from different disciplines, from the legal, journalistic, activist and educational professions, to see if all of us from our different standpoints and from our different areas of expertise could bring that expertise to bear or bring those concerns to bear on the question of child labor.
Once I remember I was in a small hotel talking to a few kids, and these kids were basically cleaning tables. And this little boy, one little boy, he must have been about 8, he was pouring dirty water from one glass into another. And this is the way we cool tea. And he was sort of miming that, he was mimicking it. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm playing."